Hey, Westside. Welcome to our Westside story. Today we're going to talk with Dr. Dave Martens, who works at Boundary Trails here, and we thought it was a really good opportunity and time for us this past year with COVID, and we just wanted to check in, and we also wanted to learn from Dr. Dave's experiences at Boundary Trails and at the clinic, and we're excited. So thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being had. So 3 questions that I kind of sent you, and first one is, like, this past year and a bit, how has it affected you, this COVID season year personally?
COVID has been a fun blocker.
Fun blocker.
Yeah. I mean, all the things we were planning on doing, we just didn't do. And then the kids came home from school, and then we homeschooled them when we weren't prepared to do that, like lots of people. And then we didn't leave the house, and then we didn't see people for a long time, and here we are. And it was terrible.
That's a hard...
Yeah, I mean, lots of people can relate to that, but it was, for us particularly, and then trying to do all the things we were supposed to do, distancing and masks and, feeling like we really needed to do those things because maybe I was going to pick something up and take it to work and
Right.
reduce the population of the hospital accidentally.
Would not be good.
Yeah. So there was that stress throughout, and it's, I think we're coming to the tail end of it.
Well, it's totally a thing. Absolutely. So professionally, at the hospital, at the clinic, what's this past year and a bit been like?
Well, we were already trying to be as efficient as we could at the hospital, and again, trying to prevent as many bad things from happening to people as we could. But now there are constantly changing protocols, and just this constant threat that maybe you're going to be the person who creates an outbreak at the hospital, or early on when there was no vaccine, many people passed away to personal care homes. Well, hospital, for a large part, is a personal care home. It's the same population there. So there are vulnerable people that you can't do anything but the distancing measures, hand washing, and being particular. And then, like I said, we were already, kind of doing everything we could. And then there's a layer of difficulty on top of every single thing, plus the stresses of someone sick. You now have to be the face of kind of the government administration, that they can't come in. But really, all the doctors, they want to let the people in, and we're sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Right.
Like I said, trying to do the right thing on top of everything else, and is just a constant extra stress. One other thing too is I work in the OR, so like the OR shut down for a period of time, so I was briefly unemployed there. And you hear in the news that elective surgeries were canceled, but there aren't really any elective surgeries. Like, people are having surgery because there's no other option. If there was a good option, they wouldn't have surgery. So, and we'll probably just never catch up. So, like, if you missed a year of surgery and now you're only going at half speed, you'll just never catch up. So there's a stress that goes along with that too. We want to catch up, but know that you probably just never can. So there are, layers upon layers of extra stress. So
I can't imagine all those layers. And like you say, it changes.
Yeah, it changes. You're never really sure what, and by and large, the hospital doesn't decide that. It comes from top down, sort of tells us what we're going to do. And to the best of our ability, we do it.
And we're very appreciative of you and all the people who are on the front lines there. And one question, like with vaccinations, with vaccines, there's lots of questions that come up. And I know I have lots of conversations. I can't imagine how many conversations you have. I got vaccinated, and I was happy to do it and have it part of my story. But as I talk to people, I do want to listen well, and I do want to take in people, because there's very different takes on people being vaccinated. What are some of the questions that you get, the main ones, and how do you respond?
You know, most people don't ask me, should I get the vaccine? It's more that you just see they're unsure. Like some people have decided there's just no way. They've heard something that convinced them, and there just isn't any way to convince someone. But for the people who are thinking about it, I think it's important to know that all the doctors, essentially, as soon as they found out they were eligible, got vaccinated. So I've got a text. I looked at it today. Text from my friend said we're eligible, and then a few minutes later said I had an appointment. Like all the doctors think that it's a good idea. They all thought it's safe. They are all trying to get their families vaccinated. And so within the hospital, there's just I guess I sort of took it for granted that people would appreciate what an incredible thing this is. Like even the vaccines that are only, let's say, 80% effective, are much more effective at preventing severe illness or death, or the blocking up the ICUs, which is the main reason hospitals shut down, to allow capacity for the ICUs. So within the hospital community, really there isn't the debate, and I'm sheltered from it a little bit. But just that key thing that like the doctors who have, that I work with, they got vaccinated. They want the people that care about to get vaccinated. They think it's safe. I think it's safe. And the right vaccine is the one you can get now. So kind of the sooner you can get it done, the more effect it has. So yeah, like in terms of, is it safe? Should I get it? Yes. And we kind of, you can see by how we act, we think it's safe. We got it done. So kind of I don't know if that's the insider information, but that's.
Well, you're someone who's in the trenches every day. You're someone
Yeah.
who experiences it, the questions, and you need to have a response as well, right? And as you guide your patients through this as well, and you want to do that with integrity and honesty and openness.
Yeah, and it's even a little different question for a younger person. Like very few young people have died from COVID. Kind of more the role of the younger person is the spreader. So really, when you're asking a young person to get vaccinated, you're asking them to do it for somebody else. And like within the church, that just seems to be such an obvious thing for people who want to do something. Like here's the opportunity to do that thing. Yeah, and even more so, like there's some people who aren't going to get vaccinated because they got caught up in some misinformation, and they just can't get out of it. They don't have a group of people that can say, actually, you know what? And so in a way, like when you get vaccinated, you're doing it for that person too, because they, for whatever reason, can't protect themselves. They can't protect the people around them because they got caught up in this misinformation. And I don't know, I think it's kind of maybe a uniquely Christian perspective that you can do it for the person who doesn't like what you have to say. So like the people who would want to tell me that, no, I think it's part of a conspiracy. I don't like vaccinates. Well, I got vaccinated for them. I got vaccinated for you. So if you can't do it for whatever reason, well, I'm going to in some way protect you.
I think that's a great way to look at it and frame it, that this is, we do this for all people. We will do it for people we disagree with. We'll do it. Yeah, when we frame it that way, there's it does definitely take on that flavor of sacrificial
It is.
for all people.
You have to make an appointment. You have to get poked with a needle. And that for some people, that's really frightening. That people
I didn't even feel it. I didn't even feel it. The lady was so good.
Mine was nice too.
I don't even think she gave it to me. I may not have gotten anything.
But it is. It's a sacrifice. You have to do something for somebody else. And especially young people, like the argument that, oh, you're in danger. Well, I mean, everybody to a certain point feels like nothing bad's going to happen to you. But it's for someone else. And for me, that's the convincing argument, that I'm less likely now to bring something into the hospital and cause trouble. And by trouble, I mean significant trouble. Yeah. And, my job too is I can't be a distance. Like I have to be hands-on people. So it's been a stress reliever getting the vaccine, having the vaccine, and seeing it as this is the way to the end for this. Like, this will end.
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass. But yeah, and it's something that we have to, I've thought too, like there's that story of like a guy floating in the ocean and lifeboat comes by and he's like, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And over and over and over, eventually he drowns. He's in heaven. And then he says, or he's talking with God, and God's like, why didn't you take the lifeboat I sent you? Over and over, I sent you a lifeboat. Like, well, this is the lifeboat. Like, this is the amazing thing that came, and we just have to do it.
Well, we appreciate you. I love
Yeah.
that story of watching where God's at work, what God is up to. Thank you for all you do again, and for being here, being a part of this, part of us. And we've been praying for you, and we're just so appreciative of your care and
Thank you.
all the folks like you. Thank you very much. That's our Westside story for today. Take care. And if you're watching this before the sermon on Sunday, we have a part in that where we talk about tolerance. And I think that definitely plays into what we're talking about here today from both sides. Whatever take you have, tolerance and love for each other. So thank you. Have a great day. Talk to you later.